Welcome to FHL Roundtable Mondays. Today is just Nick and I, or actually maybe another FHL member may show up, but today is just Nick and I. So we did have plans to kind of talk about a different topic, but with the breaking news that happened today, we decided to change it and talk about this that happened, and that is the title of the video: Progressives Cave Yet Again. Nick, you've been saying this already, like for weeks. I know I've seen several tweets of yours saying like they're gonna cave just like they always do.
Yeah, so we decided to get together. You guys know how me and CJ do. We can get together, we talk shit. So this is gonna be more of a chill live, and we can take some questions. So I know, especially when I have some shows, it's hard for me to take questions. But I think this is a good time to be very interactive with us on this stream. I like these Monday live streams. But yeah, this is exactly what we've been telling you guys about. And I was talking to Jamie about this. I'm sorry. I have to tell you guys I told you so. I have to. Because this is a learning lesson. And I'm going to be straight up honest with you guys. It's my form of healing. It's very cathartic to me, because me and CJ talk about this a lot. The failures of the progressives, like we're going to get into very soon, the failure of the Democratic Party have real consequences on our lives. So when I see these failures, I'm enraged, but at the same time, I'm like, all right, my way to heal is like, all right, can you guys at least admit I was right? You guys let us off a cliff. Can my community at least get that we was right? That you can't trust these people to advocate for you. They will sell you out real quick.
Have you heard what they've been saying? Have you seen have any of them said, hey, well, we have to do it because of, you know what I mean? Have they said, considering all the things that have fell out the bill?
It is mind-blowing. I've been seeing what Ro-Khan have been saying, Pramila Jayapal. I don't know how, people who support and defend them, I don't know how they don't feel a sense of strong shame and embarrassment. They constantly throw them out to dry. They constantly embarrass them because they advocate for them.
Yeah,
They turn them into liars.
Exactly. That's the point I was just about to say, and you made it for me. And it's like, what excuse are you going to use now? It's like, I don't understand with liberals, how many times of disappointment is too many? At what point is them saying, well, those plans fell through for the thing that everybody wants? How many times does that have to happen before you say, you know what, this is starting to look a little suspicious? You keep dropping and fumbling the ball all the time on purpose.
You want to see a perfect example of what you're talking about, CJ? I think this is a good time to show this because, my man Jenkins is always behind. It always takes him a while to catch up. And then, he always takes a long time for him to get caught up to, leftists. And then he pretend he's always on the right side.
Yeah.
Right? So this is what he tweeted out today. Looks like it's over. And by the way, this is context if you guys don't know what we're talking about. So the progressives caved, and they decided, despite Joe Manchin puffing his chest out and using unhinged right-wing talking points that we're going to break down very, very soon, the progressives was like, well, we're still going to vote for the bill, which is trash. Privatization bill, pretty much. It's trash. Well, this is what Jenks said. It looks like it's over. Complete defeat. Jayapal just went on TV to say progressives are going to fold and vote on the corporate-backed BIF without passing BBB. Bipartisan infrastructure framework. I think that what BIF is. What BBB? I think BIF is bipartisan infrastructure framework, right?
I think he's talking about the other bill that they want to pass in tandem. I
think that's the BBB, right? I just don't know what these fucking.
I don't know what the initials stand for, but I believe that.
Anyway, you guys know what you're talking about,
yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And with Manchin saying he might never vote for BBB, you can never surrender any more thoroughly than that. And you also want to see.
BBB is Build Back Better. We don't know that. We don't know. That's what they call the reconciliation bill, I believe, is the BBB. They're trying to they're trying to label it like Obamacare, like the bill that passed, Affordable Care Act. They gave it Obama gave it that name. They're trying to give that name, the infrastructure bill, I guess. I'm sorry, or the reconciliation bill.
Yeah, this is once again. If even Cal says it, what does it say? And this is a report by Ryan Grimm, and he has a lot of explaining to do because he's the biggest advocate of squad incrementalism, meaning if we trust these people, that there will be incremental change. Guys, you are not even getting incrementalism in the Democratic Party. You're not even getting that. You're not even getting that. Which we all know is bullshit. Incrementalism essentially means we taking care of the people who are well off and leaving some other people to suffer. That's
right.
all it is.
Right.
It's reforms for the white suburbanite class. But when you do incrementalism, who do you think you are leaving behind? The most disenfranchised communities who need change right now. The people who are having their communities poisoned by the military, for example. So you guys wonder why I'm strongly against the military budgets, right? But that's something that's we can do that by incrementalism. I'm gonna explain to you guys why it's not even that. We're going backwards. We're spending 16 times more on the Pentagon. That's more increase on this bill than climate. I'm gonna show you guys. I'll show you guys if we sit on that real quick. But even Ryan Grant had to repeat this. The Congressional Progressive Caucus changing course. Now pushing for a vote on both the bipartisan bill and reconciliation before Manchin is on board. Feels like caucus cracking under the threat of being blamed if McAllister, he's the guy running for Virginia. So these people are allowing electoral politics to decide what they ask for. And you guys wonder why at Fred Hampton left did you say you cannot trust these people? They're putting that race over advocating for policies that are massively favored by the American people. You see how fast they're willing to sell you out to be good boys at the Democrat Party?
Because it's all about their career, Nick. Let me just say this point here, what you're saying. It's about their career. A public servant's job should be about now. The term I was elected for, I need to get something done in that term. It's no longer that. It's always, you got to look for your future in 10 years. You want to get this. It's politicians are here for life. So they're looking at it as, maybe AOC is looking at it as long as I achieve Medicare for all in my lifetime, I'm going to have an accomplishment fighting for it for 30 years. And it's just, to me, it's just incrementalism on steroids. But Nick, we do have a super chat.
Let's get to some comments on this stream. I'm gonna talk to some comments more than we usually do. So
yeah,
let's go to some comments. I got something else we can share after that.
If you see the super chat, you can put it up before me. I'm scrolling right now.
Let me look.
I got it. Oh, thank you. I thought he had a question.
I appreciate that. We love super chats here. But also Ko-fi is another great way to support us. So YouTube doesn't take that. You know what I mean? We love super chats because it's a good way for us to talk to you. But not a really good way to show support. So if you want to show support, Ko-fi, that's the best way to do it. But if you want to leave super chat, we're more than happy to read. I'm doing that way.
Right.
So thank you.
We're not against it. We're not against it. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. But go ahead, CJ.
No, I was just gonna say this one, Hardline Media. This is just another topic. Hardline Media is in timeout for reporting about Joe Rogan and Sanjay Gupta.
Let's dive into
So that's terrible. So basically, they got demonetized, or I'm sorry, not demonetized.
They are forced off air for a week. I just saw it. I glanced by it on my timeline, but I didn't have a chance to look into it. But we've been seeing this all over the place. This is something that we had to talk about because the establishment adapted to the new era of information better than we thought they did. And I'm gonna explain my thought process on this. I remember when the internet first came out, and there's still a lot of benefits that we have, and there's a lot of mainstream capitalist establishment group thing that was broken because people were able to share ideas. So we were like, oh, this internet thing, this is gonna screw this. I remember thinking this growing up, like during the age of the rise of social media in my teenage years. Like, this can bust the establishment up. Now we can share information. what are they going to do about this? And you see like the immediate response to that, like in the early 2000s, was with the new anti-war movement that didn't exist because people can debunk Pentagon propaganda that they wasn't able to before the age of the internet. But the establishment saw the rise of the new information age, the internet, and now they are cracking down in a way that is insane that people is not talking about. Like the coordination between the big tech oligarchs in Silicon Valley that run Google, Facebook, YouTube, and they work like directly with like a lot of Democratic Party lawmakers. And now they are cracking down. Like I wanted to cover this. I didn't get a chance to read this, guys, but I just saw a headline. I'm gonna cover this probably here very soon. But they were trying to undermine the Sandinistas in Nicaragua, right? Trying to run the elections. They are going after their left wing,
right,
Sandinistas, social media users. And they are saying that they are Russian troll farms, and they are taking them. So you guys understand the problem of sovereignty here. The United States is randomly taking out users in other countries that they politically disagree with, and then they just say, "Oh, that's a Russian troll farm." But Max Blumenthal and Ben Norton on the Gray Zone reported on this. Ben Norton's on the ground. He's like, "Bro, I'm talking to these people. These people are real activists that are being censored by our government." And they did the same thing to Black Lives Matter activists as well. So it's like they adapted to the new age of the internet. Then now they got like new digital IDs. They think about creating as well. The crackdown information on the internet has been insane. It's like what they're trying to do right now. They know what's coming. That's with the YouTube stuff. If you talk about something that they don't approve of, they will take you down. They will ban your channel. There's no way to get recourse. That's why we have a few backups. And you guys got to stay vigilant and check out Fred Hampton because they can take down the YouTube channel anytime. Because what he was talking about was he took down the CNN video with Joe Rogan, and apparently they took it down for like COVID misinformation. But he's just talking about the subject matter of CNN versus Joe Rogan, and you see how they do that as a pretext to take down left-wing commentators. And meanwhile, you got progressive CIA shitlib progressives that cheer for social media censorship. They don't understand that they use the right wing as an excuse to expand power, and then they go after the left.
Right. So
I just want to talk about that. I think that's important. Make sure you guys support Heartlands. I really wanted to dive in that. There's so much more to be said, but at least I had to comment on that. Thank you for leaving.
No, but there's a tweet. Both of us have had several tweets on this topic, but there's a tweet I remember I did, and it was something along the lines of, you know what's worse than a fascist in the White House? That's a fascist in the White House with the full backing of the corporate media, and that's what we have right now. Because misinformation, the campaign that the Democrat is using by calling things misinformation, is the same thing that Donald Trump was saying by the term fake news. It's just that he didn't have corporate media behind him pushing that narrative, because he could have censored a lot of stuff also if mainstream media was behind him with calling certain things fake news. But they weren't. But they're behind this president, because it's absurd that a person can't post a lie. That's free speech, Nick. A person can post a lie. That is free speech. Now, a doctor or a scientist can't go on in that capacity and say something that is false and they don't take it down, because they are lending their expertise in an area they have trained in. You get what I'm saying? But a person like me, you see random weird conspiracies all over YouTube that they don't take down because it's free speech. Somebody can say, I think this red chair is God. It's not, but he or she can say it. You get what I'm saying? So to me, hard lines media, what happened to them should fall under that, and all of these sort of things that they're doing to censor leftist media is that these are our opinions, and a lot of times, so in our case, I should say. Now, some of our comrades, Nick, do more reporting, but their reporting is way more factual, in my opinion, than corporate media. Your thoughts, Nick?
Once again, it disappoints me so much when I see people on the left that they cheer for this, because they think this is a way to own Trump and MAGA people. And they never understand that these censorship activities are used to go after the left. They went after indigenous activists who were protesting for Line 3. There are a lot of accounts that was banned because of this, right? But the biggest thing is these people that agree with the concept of misinformation. Oh my God, we got to control the flow of misinformation. If you buy this, you are a sucker of the highest order, right? So who is the biggest purveyor of misinformation? The corporate news.
I was
like, bro, they still sell the idea that marijuana is a gateway drug. They sell every single war. They lie about weapons of mass destruction. You have Fauci.
Right.
Literally, he admit that he lied about masks at the beginning of the pandemic. Is he getting banned? Did Joanne Reed get banned? For all the time, she's right. Constantly on the show.
Because their lies, state lies, are okay, Nick. State lies are okay. And this is also involves Julian Assange. This is why they're going after him. They're not detesting, they're not contesting the content. They're talking about the means or the process and by which he got the information. But this goes to that point. State lies are okay. It's ridiculous. I'm sorry. This super chat here. AOC ran as a Democratic socialist and is governing like any other corporate Democrat. It's a shame. Was never ever a progressive. And this is what I said in the past. Like, one, I've never been on AOC's bandwagon, even in the good days, even when she was campaigning for Bernie Sanders. Just a personality, just rubbing her the wrong way. I just never was a fan of hers. But if you run in a Democratic Party, or you become a Democrat, to me, it's only a matter of time before you're co-opted, before all of the stuff all the things that people voted, the reasons people voted you in, before you stop doing those things. There's no way to do it, because you're going out to dinner with these people, you're seeing their kids, you're visiting their family, you're around them in those situations. So it's like, well, I met Nancy Pelosi's daughter, so yeah, she votes bad, but she's not a bad person. When, to me, the way you vote and the outcome by which your vote creates a situation or an issue for somebody else, that makes you a bad person to me. What are your thoughts, Nick?
Yeah, it's kind of, they had a big responsibility. But they would have an army of supporters that would have their back, because they actually fought the Democratic Party. Man, do you guys understand the hell they would have faced? But instead, she get retweeted by shit libs. They love her. AOC slay queen. She gives them the illusion of thinking they are progressives, because what they did not shift the country to the left. They shifted what it means to be a socialist to the right.
That's why we have all these people mislabeled, if you will, because you can label yourself. Yeah, it's like, oh, you voted for Joe Biden. You have Black Lives Matter in your bio, but you're voting for the guy who is increasing funding to the police state. Like, it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, this is a great comment. She said progressivism dies in the Democratic Party. That's what we've been saying. That's exactly what we've been saying. And what a lot of people do, they're like, oh my God, I read a ton of theory, I read a ton of Marx, I'm a super communist. But then they would like vote for shit-lived neoliberals like Joe Biden, and then they would not even join activists in the street. Like, it's one thing if you vote for Democrats and you like fighting them. Like, they stay in their air-conditioned bourgeoisie apartments, or like,
it's never applied. Their theory is never applied. It's always, they can espouse theory, but it's never applied, Nick.
Friend of the show, Liv for Fred Hampton leftists, was just arrested standing in solidarity with Line 3 indigenous activists. Meanwhile, you had the boutique left who stay in air-conditioned
Well,
studios, and they criticize activists for Medicare for All. They criticize the Medicare for All march. They criticize forced to vote. So they don't join the fight. They don't join the fight. The only resistance they have is through the lens of electoral politics. If it do not go through the lens of electoral politics, they are not interested. They are not. In fact, they will attack you if you use any other option that is not endorsed by like Bernie Sanders, AOC, the Justice Democrat, Pramila Jayapal. If you use any other tactic, they will smear you. But I see you put this video up. So let's cover that.
Yeah. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. I just wanted to have that up for us to go.
We need to cover the content. So
yeah. So let's go. This is Joe Manchin. Not necessarily his reaction to progressives, but let's just listen to this video here. I thought it was interesting.
Well, I've worked hard to find a path to compromise. It's obvious. Compromise is not good enough for a lot of my colleagues in Congress. It's all or nothing. And their position doesn't seem to change unless we agree to everything. Enough is enough.
By the way, and this is the only time I'll pause it, but I want you guys to have the right mindset watching this video. There is no point during this negotiation process that Joe Manchin ever gave him what he is willing to do. Because they scaled back so many times. Joe Manchin's like, all right, let's do 1.7. Then they'll scale back 1.7. Whoa, hold up. He kept doing that over and over again. And you see the media buyers, they pretend he's a good faith actor. He's bought off by his corporate puppets. So at no point did he ever negotiate in good faith. And at no point did Biden put any pressure on. I'm going to share later and show you guys the Biden White House response to this. Like, they were like, I think he would get on board. So it's weakness of unbelievable proportions to the point where we don't believe it. We think it's theater. This is the rotating villain. So there's so many lies that he said. For one, he propagates the death myth. Because we advocate for modern monetary theory here.
Right.
So keep that in mind. Keep in mind the fact that he never negotiated in good faith. And this bill is trash. Right. And his numbers just begin with $4 trillion. He said that last year. And now he said, I'll support infrastructure package of $4 trillion. Now he don't even want to do 1.7. This is the theater of right. This is why we cover it too. We got to expose why this is nonsense. This is nonsense. Everything he says here. But that's the only time I interrupt. Let's play it through.
No, but Nick, but this is a good time for me to make this point here. Understand, Nick, if Bank of America, if Chase Bank, if Pfizer all donate to both parties, do you think Pfizer's corporate plan for their future through Congress, do you think it's different plan if it's a Democrat versus a Republican? It's the same plan, Nick. Whatever Pfizer wants to do, if they want tax cuts, if they want this break, if they want this pass, if they want this vaccination approved, they have two parties executing the same plan. So in this case, we have Joe Manchin, and in a lot of other cases, we have Kristen Sinema, supposedly the smart ones, the responsible ones who are the moderates. Remember, the Overton window is here. So moderate is radical right when you translate it to, when you apply it to the actual world, to every other political Overton window. Okay, so Manchin and Sinema are the rotating villains. They are there to take the brunt of discontentment when it's deserving to the entire party. You get what I'm saying? So it's like, hey, instead of us taking the impact, go over there and you draw the attention to yourself and you take them away from the larger group. Yeah, you'll take a couple of scrapes and scratches, but we're gonna reward you. And if Joe Manchin was doing anything that the Democratic Party did not want to do, they would be threatening him just like they supposedly threatened the progressives. I don't know if you heard, Nick, but I heard something. Maybe I read, just glanced, something about they were threatening to run opposition and heavily fund their opposition if they voted against it. Did you hear anything about that, Nick?
Hey, sorry, CJ. I was talking to Robert.
I'm sorry.
Robert Durden. He got a YouTube channel.
Yeah, absolutely.
He was in the chat. I was trying to see if he wanted to come on.
What is he saying? Is he gonna make it?
He said yeah, but I don't know if he meant. I don't know if I meant right now. But anyway,
yeah. Let me play the video then.
I had to take a phone call too. I don't know if you saw, but do you mind reframing that for me? Because I missed what was going on.
No, I was just talking about I was just in general talking about the rotating villain and how the rotating villain just kind of just illustrating what it's for. So if you have a team or you have an opponent, you're a team and you have an opponent, right? And you'll go, hey, you two go run over there to have the distraction. You're the distraction. Draw our opponents to you, have them attack you instead of attacking the entire team. That's essentially what Joe Manchin and Kristen Sinema play as the rotating villain. Because if Joe Biden and the Democratic Party actually wanted Joe Biden to vote a certain way, like they wanted progressive to do with this bill, they would have done what they did to the progressives. And I was asking you, Nick, had you heard, I glanced at an article talking about something about the Democrats were going to run people in these progressive districts. They were going to heavily fund them if they didn't vote for this package. Like, why aren't the Democrats and Joe Biden doing that sort of arm twisting to Joe Manchin? It's because he's doing exactly what the Democratic Party wants him to do. And I was asking you, what do you think about that? Where when it comes to progressives, they're willing to twist arms, but when it comes to Joe Manchin, like, he gets reward, like when his wife was given that job. What do you think about that?
Yeah, when you watch the Joe Manchin video, I want you guys to keep this in mind, because Jimmy said, well, why not just make Joe Manchin emperor at this point? You see how powerful they was trying to sell who he is being. He does have power, right?
Right.
But you guys understand that Bernie Sanders has the same exact power,
right? Just
Bernie
doesn't use it.
One Sanders. Bernie's another Sanders. They have two completely different ideologies. Bernie Sanders could have the same amount of power that Joe Manchin has right now. So why isn't Bernie Sanders holding press conferences like Joe Manchin is doing right now and demanding him not to increase the Pentagon budget, demanding him not to increase the ICE budget, demanding him to increase the minimum wage to $15 an hour, demanding him to pass paid family leave? You guys can do this through Congress, even outside of this. And that's always been a joke. They were like, oh, this thing got a lot of these different great progressive ideas that I knew was never going to pass. We've seen it strip away over and over again. But one thing they said they're going to do, they want to spay Medicaid in this. You can do that on your own. That's why we march. You can use your executive order to pretty much give us Medicare for all. So why is Bernie Sanders asking for that?
Think back, Nick, to all the so-called leftist progressive people who voted for Joe Biden, who kept telling us, let's get him in office, then push him, and then let's get him in office, then take care of all those things. And all the progressive things have somehow dropped out of the bill, Nick. So what are those people thinking? Are they having buyer's remorse at this point?
Push Biden left has aged worse than almost any other political idea I ever heard in my life. The only thing that aged as bad as that is vote blue no matter who.
Right.
As we see here, vote blue no matter who. Push Biden left. All these progressive shit-leg dogma you see repeated that we go against, and people get upset at us for going against this Washington train of thought. The idea that you're gonna have one of the most right-wing senators in the modern American history, one of the most conservative people in the Senate. I'm not saying the most conservative Democrat. He's one of the most conservative.
Right.
He was pushing Reagan to the right on criminal justice. He was literally nicknamed the senator of the credit card companies, right? That was his reputation. He's the senator for Delaware. He is the guy of Wall Street. But you guys think you're gonna push him left? You guys think you're gonna change his ideology at the peak of his career? Think about it. He's got his life goal is to become president. So he's gonna reach his life goal as president. He's gonna change now.
It makes no sense. It makes no sense, Nick. It makes no sense.
The shit that we got and the shit that I got for saying this basic fact. But let's listen to Joe Manchin.
Yeah, let's play this.
Some comments here after this video.
Yeah, let's play this video, Joe Manchin.
Doesn't seem to change unless we agree to everything. Enough is enough.
Oh, let me rewind because that last sentence there is very important there.
Obvious. Compromise is not good enough for a lot of my colleagues in Congress. It's all or nothing. And their position doesn't seem to change unless we agree to everything. Enough is enough. It's time our elected leaders in Washington, all of us, stop playing games with the needs of the American people and holding a critical infrastructure bill hostage. While there's opportunity in the reconciliation bill that we can all agree on. And we've been talking about this for months. Again, to be clear, I will not support the reconciliation legislation without knowing how the bill will impact our debt and our economy and our country. And we won't know that until we work through the text. For the sake of our country, I am urging all of my colleagues in the House to vote.
So let me just stop here. Joe Manchin is requiring a text for the bill that would benefit us. Progressives asked for the text for this and didn't get it. Why? How come Joe Manchin is able to do these things that progressives in his same situation can do, and they're not doing it? It makes no sense, but let's continue here.
Vote and pass the bipartisan infrastructure bill. It's bipartisan, 69 votes. We worked on that for many, many months. As I've said before, holding that bill hostage is not going to work to get my support of what you want. It's what we should all agree on and work through the process. I'm open to supporting a final bill that helps move our country forward, but I am equally open to voting against a bill that hurts our country.
Very vague language. He really didn't tell us nothing there. And I'm here for a bill that supports and uplifts. By whose definition is that? Rich people's definition of uplifting? Go ahead, Nick.
DJ, the lie is so insane because the lie that Joe Manchin would say and lie that all these right-wing losers will say, period. Like, if you're Republican, you're conservative, you believe in the same shit, so I'm talking to you too. We just support American people. Bro, the Republicans, your own constituents support paid family leave. So what are you talking about?
Right.
What are you talking? He said, I'm doing this because I'm in West Virginia, we're more conservative. Your so-called conservative district supports Medicare for all.
Right.
Your so-called conservative district supports increasing the minimum wage. So you see the gaslight on top of the gaslight, and then he was like, they just keep asking for more and asking for more. They took this bill that was started like what, $5 trillion, now it's down to like 1.7, and he's not even accepting that. You know how many concessions that they already gave? And you see his framing. He can shamelessly lie like this, and people believe in these politicians. It does not make sense to me. Like,
Nick,
they look at him like, this is a good politician, and conservatives too. Conservatives listen to Republicans and like, this is a good politician. Like,
yeah, I think Joe Manchin is a Republican who's just planted in the Democratic Party. I've always thought that of him.
I think
he's a Republican who has been planted. I don't know by the CIA. I'm not saying any of that. I'm just saying I don't know by who or what. But it's no way. There's just no way that this person is there to advocate for anything that has to do with Democrats or anything that has to do with socialism or social. Go ahead.
Look at this comment about Robert. He said, "Remember, Manchin killed the billionaire tax, called it divisive, and it only applied to 700 people in total."
Right.
So yeah, this is and I know what you're saying there, but I would say all these people are Republicans. Like, there's a reason why the tax increase on corporations and the rich didn't happen on this bill, because like Nancy Pelosi, Joe Biden agrees with Mitch McConnell and Donald Trump on the issue of taxes. And why don't people just say it, just that claim this purely? Joe Biden, Nancy Pelosi, Chuck Schumer, they agree with Donald Trump, Stephen Miller on Israel. They agree with them on immigration policy. So I say this all the time, but it bears repeating. Because it's funny, because I take pride in the fact that I have people on the right that likes me, right? But then there are people like, yo, I like Trump, and I like what you guys say. Like, bro, you shouldn't like Trump. Why are you like these politicians? Wake up, you morons. They do not care about you. And so it has to continue to be said. It's a game. If you like the same people that like Donald Trump, there's no reason why they should dislike Joe Biden. They got the same fucking policies. It's just culture war shit. But sorry, CJ, go. What's this?
No, I just think this illustration is perfect example. It's really one and the same, and you really can do that with almost every single Democrat in the party. You can certainly do this with Nancy Pelosi. You can certainly do this with Joe Biden, where it's Mitch McConnell behind him. Because, like I said before, it doesn't matter if it's Republican or Democrat. For example, if Pfizer, if Kaiser, for example, is donating to both parties, they're doing that because whoever's in office, they want them to roll out their corporate plan. And it's the same corporate plan, whether it's Democrats or Republican. They don't have a separate plan, a more liberal plan when it's the Democrats in office. That's just not what happens. Like, it's the same plan. This is all theater. We all knew that there.
I think we lost CJ for a second. He'll be back though. Let's see what some comments say while we wait for CJ to get back. But this is the main point that we always been making. Do not fall for.
My bad. I tried to play the video, share the video, and I hit the back button instead.
I was about to say, don't fall for the rotating villain bullshit. That's right. The theme of what we are covering right now. But CJ, finish your thought.
No, I was just ramping up to showing you some more video of, but this time I wanted to show Rep Jayapal. I always try to avoid saying her first name because I don't like mispronouncing people's names. So that's why Rep Jayapal. So I do want to play this video of her. So let me take this down, but that graphic there. So she is essentially, oops. Hang on, guys. For guys and girls. My bad, everybody. Oh, wow. Anyway, I'll bring it up in a second. I'm having problems here. Everything is moving slow. But anyway, let's get to some comments here because I did see one. Did you have one in particular that you wanted to?
We can go through a few. While you look for one, I wanna show you guys this. Because this is a point that I have to make that makes this entire debate about the bipartisan infrastructure deal and the idea that this is some sort of climate plan. This thing was never the climate plan, guys. This is spanning over 10 years. So this thing has always been a joke. But this is how Joe Manchin and the media is painting this as some sort of amazing progressive accomplishment. You even have progressive repeating this nonsense that passing this Build Back Better agenda it is the solution to the climate crisis.
This is how the Overton window moves. This is how it moves.
And they're complicit because Bernie Sanders know better because Bernie Sanders floated the idea of having $16 trillion because he understood that this was spread over 10 years. So why is Bernie Sanders even repeating nonsense that this is somehow a great climate bill? So even when it was at its most beefiest at $5 trillion, that's still trash.
Right.
That's still but we can't even get that. We can't even get a fraction of that. But this is what I want to share. The Democratic leadership is now pushing a reconciliation bill with just $555 billion for climate over 10 years. By the way, that's
essentially $55 million a year. That is laughable. That's laughable.
About $7.8 trillion less than they want for the Pentagon. And you guys were. And by the way, the Pentagon, the military, the largest polluter in human history. And meanwhile, if you turn on like TYT or for example, Majority Report, they report on this shit like, yo, we must pass this shit for the climate. I'm like, And I'm like, bro, do I live in a different universe? Do you guys read the bill?
Do you think they know? Do you think, Nick, like people like Jank or TYT, do you think they know when they make comments like that, they are actively shifting the Overton window even further? Do you think they know that?
Also, there's a giant an anti-intellectual problem in this country, anti-intellectualism. And people think that is exclusive, that the left does not suffer from this, if you want to call them the left.
And so that is a huge
but there's a large
victory.
amount of anti-intellectualism on the left. Like the people who are like, oh, I don't need to read what Fred Hampton said. I don't have to read any theory from a revolutionary leader. No, I don't have to read about foreign policy. I don't have to, like, they just go with their gut. And I think that's what, like, when you look at Jank and when you look at what these people do, that's what it is. They're like, I'm gonna call it out as first instinct. But you can tell these motherfuckers don't read. You can tell. But anyway, Finn, I want to see what this clip. What was it, CJ?
Yeah, this one right here is
Hold on 1 second. Before we play the video, thank you for the super chat, Winfred Rose. Vote for the Green Party. That's why I did
absolutely.
Two
I did that.
I met Jill Stein, and Angela Walker was what I was excited about. But Howie Hawkins is not, like, he has some issues, but he's not bad, people think, because he wrote the original framework for the Green AOC stole. So there's a lot of criticism of the Green Party because they show a lot of favoritism for him in the election, and I agree that you can criticize him for that. But you guys understand he was put there for a reason. So he's a boring politician, but I do think he's a good labor, because he has a record in labor. Like, he's been in the labor movement ever since the 80s. So he was boring, uncharismatic, but I'm not going to shit on him because I think he was.
But everybody doesn't have that type of personality. Like, he's just not one that has it. I don't think he is offended by it because I've seen video of him talking about it. Like, he just doesn't have that. That's fine.
I think they should have Walker on top of the ticket, and then he's the accomplished leftist that could be that brings a lot of credibility on the vice president. But because Walker was a killer, like, she was amazing. But anyway, let's but thank you for the super chat. That's you guys know how I think about the Green Party. I like their socialist framework, but like any organization, the Green Party needs to be improved because we believe in holding all power structures accountable. So that's my take on that. But back to you, CJ.
All right, I'm going to play the video. Let's listen, and then we'll comment on the other side here. Oops, sorry.
Understanding, and it isn't standing. Well, I think that we are very, very close, is my understanding, and it isn't just the two senators at this point. You have to get 50 votes in the Senate. So there are different senators who are pushing very hard for different pieces of this bill, including the prescription drug pricing piece. And on childcare, actually is really not about the overall, it's really about the implementation details. There are some differences between the language and what the Biden framework said. So we are trying to iron out those differences.
The thing is, everything that's in, let's pause it real quick. I'll be
very quickly. And as I said, look, I think we're.
There we go.
If you see what's in,
I'm going to bring it back there so we can see it on the screen. There we go.
You see how, and once again, once you consider how low amount that is over the period of time, I want you guys to know that all this is going to be, it's going to be deeply neoliberal garbage, means tested.
Right.
A lot of benefits. When you see when they talk about clean energy, when they got a lot of this climate proposal on there, a lot of that is privatization, like giving that money directly to the companies and like, all right, we're gonna set emissions, you do better, and they're gonna give them a lot of money. So it's like the reason why a lot of people on the left saying we should not pass this shit, because this is actually becoming a net negative for this country at this point. When you look at what we are not getting, how little we're spending on things that actually matter, and the benefits that the corporations that are going to be privatized are going to receive. So anyway, I just want to be sure. I just want to mention that now we're looking at this. But once again, if you look at what's out, people always ask me why we talk about this shit. I said this before. They were like, why don't you guys talk about the infrastructure? Because it's been going on for weeks and weeks and weeks. I'm like, bro, I'm not going to talk about some shit and get you guys hopes up over stuff that I know is not going to pass. I could have told you guys that none of this stuff is going to pass. But anyway.
Because just because they're leftist, Nick, and they know propaganda's out there, people think they can see propaganda as they're taking it in, and they can't. You just can't. So it's best to avoid it. But let me specifically read, Nick, what it says, what's out. Paid family leave, free community college. That's not even state college. They're just talking about 2-year. It was scaled down, Nick. And then the scale down was taken out. Expanded Medicare coverage for dental and vision. That's taken out. Prescription drug reform, which is always taken out. Anytime prescription drug reform is talked about, it's always removed. Now, what I don't like, Nick, about a lot of these, how mainstream media covers these bills, is they put names of stuff in the bill that gives the impression that that thing is somehow in there and it's great. For example, universal pre-K. How many people will be affected with this amount that's a given to pre-K? It doesn't mention that. You get what I'm saying? Like it makes you go, look what Joe Biden's doing in universal pre. No, it's not universal pre-K. Go ahead.
Also, CJ, another thing is, like a lot of people in the comments have said, these things are going to be mean-tested to hell. Also, they are designed in a way that whenever they lose a majority, like they are trying to do,
right?
They're trying to lose the majority, and they're trying to lose the Republicans because they're trying to get that gift back to their donors. Because all the stuff that's in any reform that they pass is easily written back and rolled back by Republicans. And that's why leftists, we advocate for a universal program straight up, whether it be a UBI or Medicare for all. Because if you have a straight up powerful program like that, you know how hard it would be to roll back giving healthcare to everybody? But you know how easy it is to roll back means-tested garbage that is already underfunded. Are we going to cut the funding some more?
Right. There's not even a lot of people. It's so means-tested. It's not even the amount of people that is targeted to help is not even helping, because a lot of those people are means-tested out of that pool.
Oh yeah, and also another reason why means testing is such a great point that CJ mentioned. Means testing is garbage because it eliminates the prime benefit of a lot of these progressive ideas.
So
I'm going to give you guys an example in particular, but there are a lot of different examples of this. For example, neoliberals, they want to means test canceling student loans, where you have Joe Biden like, well, we can cancel student loan debt up to like 20,000 or 10K. Some like the furthest left you get in the neoliberal Democratic Party, you have some people like Chuck Schumer say, oh, we need to cancel student loan debt up to 50 grand or something like that, right? But that reduces the point of the economic benefit of canceling student loan debt.
Right.
Because if you just cancel all of that, that is more spending in the market. So what they said, they were like, well, if you make a lot of money, we don't need to cancel student loans. But if you cancel student loans, the people make a lot of money, those people will shop and buy.
Right.
And that's why studies show that if you cancel all student loan debt, it will actually boost the economy. But you see what happens when you means test it? When you means test it, you fucking take away the prime benefit of that. And once again, the same applies to Medicare for all versus public option. But I'll move on because that's a whole nother conversation.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, but there's so many examples of how means testing actually ruins the original idea and the benefit it has for society. But they know that. So even if they do implement the reform, they'll mean test it, knowing that it will be easier to roll back because people who are not on the program, they will resist it. Because fuck these motherfuckers. They got their student loans canceled. Fuck them.
And then what I hate, and I'm talking about the social services in particular, I hate how they mean test things. For example, if you're a person who has reached an economic situation that requires food stamps, government assistance, and you go and it's like, oh, you make $1,000 less more than you can. This is what leads to what they call all of this fraud, because it forces people to lie about income, where they live, and all this stuff, because those people need that stuff. Just because you decided that the poverty level is 20-some thousand. I think you said, Nick, 23,000 for a mom and 2 kids, which is absurd.
Yep.
So if that's the threshold, you're forcing people, or you're making people make a hard decision and say, hey, if I made $1,000 less, or if I put on the application I make $1,000 less, I'm able to eat 10 more meals this week. That's the decision people are having to make. what these means tested. It's so disgusting because I grew up throughout my life living in LA, Compton, being on different government assistance. And this was the game that was always played. And it just, I don't understand why a government that claims to be exceptional, a government that, you know, we're the best country. Why are you making people that's poverty like struggle so hard just to get help? Like, it doesn't make any sense to me.
That's how deep the propaganda goes, man. Like you even had Joe Rogan who was like, yo, fucking paid maternity leave. Who does that? And then it was like, all of Europe. Well, fuck it, we're not Europe. What?
Right.
So you're admitting that we're trash? And I have this conversation with conservatives and liberals all the time. I'm like, bro, we don't have healthcare. You're patriotic. You think we're a good country?
Right.
Even though we don't have healthcare and other countries don't have healthcare. They're like, oh, well, we are a unique country. We got that you admitting that we're trash. And then they'll bring up, well, they were conservatives. They love doing it. They're like, what about Venezuela? Okay, I can debunk that point. But even if I can see that point, why are you comparing us to Venezuela? Why are you comparing the richest country of all time? They will bring up stuff like, well, if you don't like it, move to the Middle East. If you don't like it, move to Africa or some shit like that. And I'm like, bro, why is that your immediate response? Like, we should be the best society on earth. Right. So why are you, like, you see how low their standards are? You see how low their standards are?
They've been conditioned and they don't know it. And that's what's so frustrating for me.
I want to read the super chat real quick.
Go ahead.
The super chat right here, and then we can play the video. I bet most of the climate money is handouts to corporations. Thank you for the $10 more, Beatty. And that's exactly what I was saying. And that's exactly what this climate bill is. But go ahead, you can play the video.
Let's play this all the way through. This one is a recent one. So let's play this all the way through. Or it's short. It's 46 seconds. So yeah, let's play it. Oh, my bad. I'm gonna start it over. I don't have the sound on. 1 second here. There we go. And go.
I think where we are is working very hard to get both the bills through the House and feeling very good about that. Now we have the text. We spent the weekend reviewing the text. We had a big meeting of the Progressive Caucus yesterday. And I think that we are ready, pending some final negotiations on things we care very much about, immigration and prescription drug pricing. We know senators are still negotiating that, some details on childcare. But those are the last pieces. And once we have those, we will be happy to vote both those bills, both the infrastructure bill and the Build Back Better bill through the House. And I'm hoping that can happen as soon as tomorrow or the next day. We are ready to get this transformational change to people.
He's lying. They're lying to you.
That was the point I was just about to go to, Nick. If I said I had, let's say you were a starving person, you haven't eaten in a long time, and I said, hey, Nick, I'm going to bring you a great meal. And I have this big, tall meal, right? And I call it the great meal. But before I give it to you, Nick, I eat half of it or I throw half of it away. But I still call it the great meal. That's what just happened with this bill. It was cut in half where they took out, it was already too small, I think 3.5 million. They brought it down, not a little bit less than half, a little bit less than half. And they're still acting like it's transformative change, Nick. They took half your meal, Nick, before they gave it to you, and they're still calling it a great meal.
You gotta understand what happened, CJ. These people got their ass kicked. These people got embarrassed. They thought that they was going to enter Washington and out Nancy Pelosi. They think they were going to out Joe Manchin, and they was outclassed and they was embarrassed. And then they still, despite being outclassed, embarrassed, and getting nothing what they want, they go outside and say, yo, this is a great thing that's happening right now. What is that? You have no self-respect? Or are you performing the role that you was assigned to you? Now, this is a great super chat that we missed. I'm glad I found it because this also follows my point and why leftists don't want this to pass. This is $5 for Bramblebush. Thank you for that. Is the IRS spending? The IRS spending monitoring piece is still in the spending bill. To me, that is the most monstrous part of the bill. Correct me if I'm wrong, guys, but I've heard nothing about that being pushed out. If you guys
no,
don't
that's
know,
still in. That's still in.
they're going to be monitoring like any cash deposits in your bank account of like over $600 because oh my god, the insane financial crimes of the poor and working class people, the amount of money that we are losing in our system with the poor and working class people. Give me a fucking break. And we covered that before because we already show how the vast amount of money, the vast amount of white collar crime, the vast amount of money laundering that is not talked about enough. And this was proven when you had fucking you have drug cartel companies in Mexico. You had terrorist cells in the Middle East that was literally had accounts through Deutsche Bank and a lot of these Wall Street institutions, and they money launder doing that. This is illegal shit that they do not catch, and they don't catch on purpose because the IRS and police and law enforcement in general admitted this is why the system is trash and we need to abolish it and rebuild it. Is that they say, yo, going after these white collar criminals and going after these millionaires for financial crimes and for tax evasion is too expensive because they have a ton of lawyers. You know what's not expensive? Going after poor and working class people who they can get the public defender.
Right.
You know what I mean? That's a
right.
snap rap for them. So they don't even focus, and they admit this publicly. They don't want to spend resources on those big cases. They rather focus on working class people, and that's before this.
Nick, what's happening? I'm having an epiphany. I'm having an out of body experience right now. Like Nick, but this is what happened with some of our legislation. They have this infrastructure bill, Build Back, and then they have these poison pills just planted throughout these bills, right? And the progressives don't talk about it. Corporate media don't bring it up. And then these things, when I say what's happening, when this super chat here is illustrating that they are preparing Nick for something. Nick, why are they doing this? They're funneling money to them, to the upper class, to the ruling class for a reason. Like, what's happening? Like, this amount of greed, Nick. Like, the people on the planet has to be able to survive.
Hey, CJ, you know how they get away with it? Unfortunately, there's a class war that has been openly fought my entire life. I was born in 1991, even before the Reagan era. This has been going on my entire life. But there's a new Marvel movie coming out next week. NBA Finals, Game 5.
Right.
Shit, new Housewives, bro. You know they going to Dubai or some shit. Whatever. I saw some fucking commercial. The new Housewives, they going to Dubai.
Really? Oh.
So people have been pacified to death, and my man Fred Hampton says, once again, we are Fred Hampton leftists. Fred Hampton said, when you look at African American culture should be revolutionary culture. But there's a concerted effort to not only drag the African American community away from that, because there's a strong argument to be made that same applies to indigenous and Latino people, based on a lot of leftists I talk to. So they pull us away from our revolutionary spirit and they pacify us, and it works amazingly.
Mm-hmm.
It works amazingly.
Pacifies what bills like passing a holiday for Juneteenth,
and that works for some people,
right?
And
it's like forget the economics, black community. Yeah, that healthcare that you need. Yeah, that police brutality. Yeah, let's deal with that another time. We're gonna go ahead and get you this holiday, and it doesn't, Nick. And this is what's so infuriating to me about the holiday. I know this is a side note, is that it doesn't come with the actual teachings of the slave state that America was. Like, it's still taught as some sort of footnote. When America was a slave state, there was a slavery industrial complex worldwide. Everybody made money off slavery. And America is a superpower specifically because of slavery. They talk about the cotton gin, right? But they never talk about the hands that had to pick the cotton. There were two bottlenecks, not one. When people who study this history of why we became a superpower, they try to blame it on the cotton gin and say that's the reason, because the invention of that helped us produce all this. When it's who's picking the cotton though? Who's building the streets? Just go off on a tangent on that. So let's bring it.
I want to say this as well.
Yeah,
I think this ties into what I'm about to share as well. Because I was talking about how this bill, even though it's being sold as the climate plan, you got the progressive fall in line. You got Pramila Jayapal, you got everyone apologizing, saying this is the great thing ever. So did they abandon the fight for climate justice? Is that what's going on? You had world leaders that met, and they were discussing climate change. And I have warned people, once again, I haven't had a giant platform, but there was people that was like, yo, Joe Biden, he's a great option. You had Emmett Vigeland that was like, Joe Biden is the climate president. We got to vote for Joe Biden because of climate. You had Kyle Kalinske. He said, well, at least Joe Biden supporting the Paris Climate Agreement. At least that's a good thing. I'm not going to show on Kyle. At least he didn't vote for Biden. He didn't vote for Biden. But he said that. He was like, yo, well, at least the Paris Climate Agreement. Guys, the Paris Climate Agreement was always trash. It was always a joke. And I'm gonna explain that here very soon. But the world leaders met today, and they were like, yo, we're going to take this climate crisis very seriously. You guys want to see how seriously they've been taking it? World leaders toss a coin at Travi for good luck fighting the climate emergency. These people, they announced during this summit, and this was not reported widely, but they mentioned this when they were talking about our future climate plans. They said we want to reach the emissions that the scientists claim we should have right now by mid-century. Mid-century. Clown shit. Clown shit. They were saying, fuck you. I'm a boomer. I'm gonna be dead anyway.
yes. This is what I said. I think it was during the campaign. It was like, these people are, I did a tweet and I had each one of them listed like their age, like Nancy Pelosi in her 70s or 80s, Mitch McConnell, like all these people don't care about no climate change. They're not going to be here.
And also, if you're rich, you can always relocate. You can always hire security when you had the mass migration crisis that's going to happen.
Right.
You have massive areas in the sub-Saharan Africa, in the Middle East, that is populated by the tune of the hundreds of millions. Hundreds of millions of people are living in areas that are going to be uninhabitable within 10 years. So all the right-wingers who are like, oh my God, we got to stop immigration. Good luck stopping hundreds of millions of people who have nothing to lose. Who have nothing to lose. What's your plan? You're gonna keep increasing ICE budgets? How much? Fiscal conservative. How long you plan on going to stop this immigration crisis? That's gonna happen no matter what. No matter what, because of climate change. There are areas that are being destabilized right now. Fishing markets are being destroyed because oceans are being acidified too much. Too much CO2 in oceans. Mm-hmm. And conservatives are like, well, what the evidence of climate change? We're seeing it right now. The biodiversity is reaching historic, unseen levels. The biodiversity is extremely low because there is an insane amount of species that are going extinct every year because they cannot adapt to the growing climate crisis. And this has disastrous effects all the way throughout the course of food production. Once again, I explained fishing. There are a lot of areas in Southeast Asia whose economies are getting disrupted right now, and scientists are estimating their economies are going to be completely obliterated within the next 20, 25 years. And the damage that the extreme weather events, that the extreme heat events going to cause, and the migration, all this stuff, this is going to cost our countries about $100 trillion over the next 100 years. This is what studies showed us. So it actually costs more to not do anything about the climate crisis than it does to actually invest and change our country to a green new economy. Have a jobs program where you can hire people, pay them good wages to transform our economy. But these people said, fuck it. We're going to do the Paris Climate Agreement. And I got to find my source. But I want to show you guys how effective the Paris Climate Agreement has been. Check this out. The world plans to produce far more fossil fuels than it should, stays under dangerous climate limit. So these people, they introduced the Paris Climate Agreement, and no one reported on it. I literally had to look this shit up. And let me see if I can find the receipt here. There it is. Thank God I tweeted this. Because I look at the date here. This is January of this year. This is 11 months ago. Have you seen this on TYT? Have you seen this on any other shows? And they were saying, yo, Joe Biden's a great climate president because he get us into the Paris Climate Agreement. Guys, this is why I typed here. It's a good reminder that the Paris Climate Agreement was trash and does not help fight climate change. The vast majority of the countries were not compliant and then they introduced a funding mechanism. And within the funding mechanism, they was going to help fund developing countries so they can operate on green technology and they can have keep their countries under emissions. That was never even set up. They never had the funding mechanism so these countries could even become compliant. And now the countries that could become compliant, so out of 184 climate pledges, 36 was sufficient. 20%. 20%. So these people was not even following. Let's see if I can find the other style I'm looking for.
No, this is what I'm saying. Like in the details, it's never what they say. Go ahead, Nick.
Yeah, sorry, Steve. I'll pass it right to you, but this is the part I was looking for. I found it now. So once again, a lot of these smaller countries, they can't do it because the big countries have failed to fund them. But out of the top 5 of the world's largest emitters, 4 of them are falling far short of contributing to meeting 50% of global emission reductions required by 2030. But so the people who are progressives, who was praising this, was out of their fucking mind. And I was watching this, and I'm like, am I taking crazy pills? Because it's not a binding agreement. So if they don't follow the program, if they don't follow the Paris Climate Agreement, there is nothing that happens. There's nothing that happens. So that's why the global climate community is doing nothing to reduce emissions. What they tell you, they say, oh, you got to stop eating meat. You got to stop driving your cars.
Right.
You got to stop your production, even though if you look at it was over 70% of the emissions are caused by the top 1% of the corporations, like top 100 countries. They're responsible for all the emissions, but they want to put the onus on you. But sorry, CJ, I went long enough. What's your thoughts, man?
No. Everything you were saying was on point. I did want to show another video of AOC, but I think I'm going to pull up this comment first. I'm sorry, the super chat.
Yeah, I see. I think.
Where is it? Let me see.
I found one.
Oh, there he goes. Yeah, there he goes.
Thank you, went for this the second super chat. So we appreciate that. The climate deniers did 100 degrees Fahrenheit last year in the Arctic Circle. That's insane. And by the way, I reported. Let's see if I can find a story because I reported this on my channel a long time ago about the ice shelf.
Mm-hmm.
So if you are one of the people that deny that climate, I read the denial comments from a lot of right wingers. They were like, "Well, the climate it always changes." They're like, "Well, the climate naturally changes." Okay, so what are we gonna do to stop the climate crisis from destroying our society? So they always say that the debate is whether climate is man-made or is not man-made. And my position is it's fucking irrelevant because the climate is changing and it's going to destroy our society unless we adapt. So your point as a conservative doesn't even make sense. It doesn't even make sense because the climate, the planet, like Carla said, is going to be fine. So even if you are correct, which you're not, even if you are correct that, well, this is not a big deal because the climate changes all the time. Okay, what are we going to do about what are we going to allow our society to crumble because you don't want the fucking top 1% to pay some more? So the people who are denying the climate crisis, you are deeply unserious. You are deeply unserious people. Farmers are already feeling the consequences of the climate crisis. But you're like, well, the climate change anyway, so we shouldn't do anything about it. Fuck out of here. That's dumb as hell.
Yeah.
And I want to take anyone up on this conversation. Anyone. Because even if you're like, well, oh my God, these people, they will say, you can chime in, CJ, anytime. I'm sorry, I'm random.
No, go ahead.
They will say, well, you had Al Gore. Al Gore, he made a fortune selling the myth of climate change. Oh my God, the fucking billionaire motherfucker, Bill Gates, he make a ton of money promoting climate change. Climate change is a grift. I seen these people say this all the time. Climate change is a grift. You guys are talking about some neoliberal fucks who don't give a fuck about climate change. This is how dumb conservatives are.
Right.
They really think Al Gore gives a
Right.
fuck. And they use Al Gore as an example of why climate activists are not serious, even though we have actual real leftists, real socialists.
Because it's only a surface analysis, Nick. They're not
because climate deniers, they piss me off. Because these boomers sold us out. And you motherfuckers are comfortable, you sold us out because you know you can relocate. So there's a problem that you're not going to take seriously. Even though our communities are being poisoned right now, our water are being rendered undrinkable. Do you understand? Do you know that less than 1% of the Palestinian water is drinkable? Actually, I think it's 2%. Sorry, I think I misspoke. I think it's 2% of the Palestinian water is drinkable, and that's because of the climate crisis. Because of their military polluting their water. But so you who live in a comfortable community where you know you always have drinking water. So I guess the climate crisis doesn't mean anything to you because you actually got drinking water. Meanwhile, real people, well, I would say people who are working class, even once again, white people are getting poisoned by this shit too in the South. But the Black community, disenfranchised community, indigenous Latinos, we are the ones affected by it. You got indigenous land that's being polluted by Line 3 and oil pipelines. And you guys don't want you got climate people will deny the climate and say we shouldn't do anything about it. That's unserious. And I don't want to take anyone on the challenge. And AOC is a fucking coward for not calling out Marjorie Taylor Greene on this shit. Because do you remember when Marjorie Taylor Greene was like, yo, I want to have a debate on climate? And people was like, yeah, AOC shouldn't legitimize her. But she's a congressperson. These are two
What does that mean?
people.
I hate that. I hate this whole thing of you can't talk to people you disagree with.
So
I hate that, Nick.
Bro, and I saw like even people I respect, they was like, yeah, AOC shouldn't legitimize Marjorie Taylor Greene. And I'm like, bro, this is not YouTube debate me, bro shit.
Right.
Two Congress people debating climate policy. And you have Marjorie Taylor Greene. This is the opportunity of a lifetime, CJ. She said, I challenge AOC to a debate on climate. Marjorie Taylor Greene, the dumbass. And AOC was a fucking afraid. She was like, no, I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that. I don't want to legitimize her. She's a congressperson. And
what does that mean, legitimize her? This concept, this red-blue concept.
One last point.
Go ahead.
I'm sorry, because this is super
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
It's important. So, if this happened, do you understand? There will be a blockbuster event. Millions of views. Marjorie Taylor Greene versus AOC in a debate? Do you imagine how many millions of views that would get? So you got a million of people that will watch a leftist clown a climate denier, and you don't take that opportunity? Are you serious? But CJ, what you gotta say? Because
no, that means to me that she's not as serious as she claims to be. Because as a person who, if you truly believe in climate justice or the climate crisis, the climate emergency, that is absolutely an opportunity you would take to have millions of people hear someone. You know how many conservatives that would tune into that who never have heard about the details of what climate change is or what climate emergency, what's happening, that you can affect, that you can touch their ear finally. But you're going to say, no, I don't want to legitimize that concept of somebody disagrees with you. So having a conversation with them, that makes no sense. The people who already follow her legitimizes her. The people who already like her.
She's a congressperson.
Right.
What more legitimacy are you afraid that she's going to get? They say the same thing about regarding like, well, you shouldn't go on Fox News and talk to the people because if you go on Fox News, that legitimizes them as an organization. Bro, they're the highest rated cable company in the fucking country.
Right.
Like, what else are you afraid is going to happen?
And how is that different than going on CNN? If that's the reason you're saying don't go on Fox, it's the same reason applies to MSNBC and CNN too.
One last thing on AOC, and people wonder why I criticize her as a leftist leader, because I legitimately have people bewildered by my take, and a lot of people saw it, and a lot of people agree with me because I saw everyone shifting this one way. I'm like, bro, what? Are you guys legitimately agree with her ducking a debate with Marjorie Taylor Greene? So for one, let's walk this through, right, CJ? What do you think will go wrong? What do you think will go wrong? They were like, well, you don't want Marjorie Taylor Greene to repeat climate denial talking points in front of millions of people, then debunk them. So I think they're afraid of AOC's ability, and they admitted it. So they think that Marjorie Taylor Greene may embarrass her. And I said this when I covered this at the time. I will pick any person on Fred Hampton leftist. And I said this when I covered this at the time. Every single person that I know on Fred Hampton leftist, and I will expand it. Every single guest that I had on Fred Hampton leftist would destroy Marjorie Taylor Greene in the climate debate. Do you guys hear her talk? She is a moron of the highest order, deeply unserious. And this is the person AOC was afraid of. Are you serious? Bro, they could have been, but CJ, imagine how big of a win this would have been for the climate activists. Because if she went in front of millions of people and destroyed her, yes, there would have been a lot of right-wing partisans who would say, yeah, Marjorie Taylor Greene won regardless. But I promise you, there have been a large amount of people that even they may lean right, but they lean right because they do it in good faith. They think that's the good way. But they would see that debate. They would see Marjorie Taylor Greene get destroyed by LC, and they're like, damn, she looked dumb tonight. I don't know if I want to be associated with that. You guys know how I know that? Because I had a lot of people, a lot of conservatives, especially ever since I've been on Jimmy Dore. A lot of conservatives reach out to me like, yo, I'm not even a fucking socialist, bro. But that shit was, what you talk about is dope. That's the same thing you can do in this debate that have millions of people tuning in. Mm-hmm. You can have independent media like us, even the big ones that we don't like. You can fact check Marjorie Greene live. You can make it a giant rhetoric event.
This is why I think, Nick, she was more probably pressured by the Democratic establishment not to do that. Because if she goes out and says all of this stuff and convinces more people, that means that's more people added to any sort of general strike, more people added to the climate crisis emergency protest. You get what I'm saying? Like any time there's an attempt for people to communicate, to get common ground, they don't want that. Anytime that no, you're gonna go on Fox News. Why? To have conversations with people that disagree, but they're Americans. Aren't we all Americans? So Americans aren't having conversations with other Americans, and we're calling ourselves a great democracy. That's where we're at now, Nick.
Yeah, and you are so on point with that, CJ. Because now you made me think about it another way as well. Because the people who was the loudest in their objection to AOC talking to Marjorie Taylor Greene was the shit libs.
Yes.
And once again, I followed the trend very closely because I covered this on my show at the time. The blue check shit libs, they was the loudest one. Like, we cannot, no debate, Marjorie, we cannot. They was the loudest one because they don't want that debate. I just explained how this would be beneficial to the left. And you know why they attacked Jimmy Dore for going on Tucker Carlson? Because Jimmy Dore went on Tucker Carlson and spoke on behalf of Julian Assange. They don't want that. They don't want that.
They don't want that cross interest. This is why, Nick, what you just said, a conservative said, I'm not a socialist. He's a conservative, but he's watching Jimmy Dore. They don't want that crossover. Jimmy Dore is attracting conservatives based on what he is saying. And he's a leftist because there's a lot of overlapping. They don't want you to get in the same room and talk about that. Then you'll figure out, wait a minute. There's just a few things we disagree on. All this other stuff we agree, but we disagree with the establishments on. And if we just came together on that stuff, is my point.
That is such a great point. Damn, I found a good comment. Damn, I lost it though.
Yeah. I hate when they like kind of scroll up and you're just about to click on it. Yeah.
Damn.
Same thing happened to me.
I lost it. But anyway, the point I'm making, once again, that's just another reason why she's a failure of a leftist leader, because she should have took that climate debate. But let me share this. Because you guys want to know, once again, we talk about the climate crisis and how devastating this is. I think this is kind of fun. I'll share this to wrap the story up. This is going around because they had their climate change conference. Just in case you guys want to know how seriously Joe Biden's taking this. Joe Biden falls asleep.
Oh Lord. That's our president.
Kamala Harris is watching this video and she's like, hell yes. Hell yes. Hell yes. You know Kamala is looking at every single instance of Joe Biden showing acute failure like this, which at this point constitutes elder abuse. What they doing to Noam Chomsky is elder abuse.
Yeah.
What they doing to Joe Biden, this is elder abuse. But they needed someone who beat Bernie. They found their guy, and they're like, bro, Joe Biden, bro, I know you're living a good life, but we need you. And we need to uphold the neoliberal order, and that's what he's doing. But the thing about this, guys, if Joe Biden is this compromised, and this is the question I posed, who is really running shit? Do you guys really think this guy is making the day-to-day decisions? Do you guys really think he understands what's going on in foreign policy in the world right now? There is no chance. And I did a video on this. You guys don't look at my old Social MMA YouTube video. There's a video I made that said one of my worst fears of a potential Biden administration, because I made this video during the election. And I was like, yo, you guys see how Joe Biden is fucked up, right? And it's not me being ableist or ageist or any way, but if Joe Biden is not there, who is going to run his administration? Is it going to be Kamala Harris? Pete Buttigieg? We all know the answer to this. Who's really called the shots in these administrations? The Pentagon. Lloyd Austin is probably the most powerful motherfucker they got in there. The Secretary of Defense, who came directly from the weapon manufacturers. Directly. Like, directly.
Nick, corruption is in plain... In the United States, corruption is literally in plain sight for our citizens, and we just go, "Oh, like it's so bizarre. It's so bizarre to me that we aren't outraged about more things like that." Where's that comment? It was a super chat. Here it goes.
Austin discloses. I'm just reading the headlines. Just to back what I'm saying. Austin discloses financial ties to defense contractors. So he was like invested in a lot of defense contractors. He was an advisor to a lot of these people. Biden, and this is another one. This is from the Intercept in May 2021. Biden is filling top Pentagon spots with defense contractors, including nominee, which is now the confirmed defense secretary of state, Lloyd Austin. Guys, they do it right in your face.
Right in your face.
Right in your face.
But hey, you that work for the military place that builds this and makes this, come over here and be my Secretary of Defense. What do you think he's gonna do? Do you think he's gonna somehow find a conflict? Do you you think he's gonna somehow find a war that needs to happen so that his old buddies from his old industry can get paid?
I just want to ask some more. I see a lot of people trying to comment saying from Raytheon, but sorry, CJ, go ahead. I just want to.
They're right. He is from Raytheon. What did you say? I can't even remember what you said.
But yeah, it's like right in front of your face, and they don't care because they know our populace is so pacified. Our populace is so pacified. They literally openly inside trade. They openly get people who had conflicts of interest and bring them into from the private weapons industry right into our government, and then they increase the Pentagon budgets. So it's not like they get in and they do a neutral civilian work. No, Austin got in and got exactly what he wanted. He got literally more bombings and expanded Pentagon budget. So guys, I want you guys to think about this, guys. We ended the war in Iraq, which cost $300 million a day. That war cost $300 million a day. So despite that conflict ending, we increased our budget. Where's the money going? Where's the money going? Anyone know? Going for more. Actually going to the new Cold War, covert operations, and also they haven't given up on Afghanistan. If you think they have, you're a chump. They have not given up. You can call it a tactical surrender at that. Anything else, CJ? I got a few fun, like a few quick funny stories we can talk about.
I just wanted to bring up the super chat, age limits and term limits for all government officials. Now, I don't know if saying age limits is ageism, but there needs to be some sort of way of understanding that somebody is in a regressive cognitive state. That Joe Biden clearly is. And I hate when people say, "Whoa, I'm not a doctor, so I can't say." Well, you can clearly see. You get what I'm saying? Like, Nick, if you see somebody dead on the street, you don't gotta be a doctor to be like, "Hey, that motherfucker right there is dead." You know what I'm saying? You don't gotta be, you know what I'm saying? Like, you can see who he was before and how his has these blank stares. He has his speech is slightly slurred at certain points. Something is going on. And you get what I'm saying?
Also, another sign of dementia is fits of rage, which we have
Yes.
seen a lot with Biden.
Yes.
A lot. Those immediate bursts of rages. Furor. That's the one that was going on recently. That was spreading recently. You see that fit of anger?
Yeah.
That's part of it. When
You seen that GIF when he turns around to the reporter and goes, why, like that or something like that? Yeah, that one. That's another
what
one.
I'm talking about. He snapped at so many activists.
Yeah.
Told an immigration activist to vote for Trump. That's how bad it is.
Yeah.
That's how bad it is.
It's terrible. So who's running? Who's running the country? Because we all know that Joe Biden is not. But I think this illustrates, Nick, because everybody clearly knows that this guy, something's off. But somehow the country's still rolling and everybody's pretending like he's not off. That's telling you who's running the country. We have a president who is cognitively out of it. Then who's running the country then? That's because the president is, to me, is just a figurehead. And corporations run the country. I mean, we all know this, that corporations run the country. Our Congress, Nick, and I'm going to pass it back to you, is like this. And this is from the Communist Manifesto. They're simply the managerial class for the people who really run the country. They just handle the business of the people who actually run the country. And that's what they do. We call them donors. That's what we call them. And I'll pass it back to you, Nick.
I'm gonna cover some fun topics now.
Yeah, let's switch it up a little bit.
Everything I cover on Fred Hampton Lectures, I cover for a reason. We can have some fun with this one though. But there is a very, very important point to take from the story. Let's go, Brandon. Right? Let's go, Brandon. We talk about Joe Biden, right? Let's go, Brandon. Yeah. A lot of people are still confused about the "Let's Go Brandon" thing. I explained it before on the channel. I'll show the video. You guys all seen the chants of "Fuck Joe Biden" that's spreading everywhere. Joe Biden approval rating has tanked. The Democratic Party
plummeted. Yeah,
destroyed. They greatly embarrassed themselves. Right? This is a friend of the show. I'm gonna try to get him on Friday. Professor Zankis said it really great, perfectly well. You talked to Zankis on the show before, but I think
I'm trying to get him on Monday too for our roundtable for that conversation. I think he's gonna come with Kareem.
So yeah, that's good. That's good. Cause me and Zankis, we've been friends, but we never actually been actually talking in person yet. But this is what Zankis said, and this is the perfect example of why, as a leftist, I support the "Let's Go Brandon" movement. And it pisses me off when people are pretending that this is just a Republican thing. You guys know that there was just a poll that shows that Gen Z dropped by 20 points.
Yeah,
Joe Biden dropped 20 points by Gen Z. People hate this guy universally because on the left he abandoned their promises and he's governing as a right-wing maniac. The right, they just care about culture war shit, so they have to oppose Joe Biden.
Right,
because they have no real reason to oppose him. But anyway, let's read what Zankis had to say. Pay family leave is out. Vision care is out. We never got the 15 wage or the public option. One corrupt senator gets everything he wants. The bill is less than half its original size. The Democratic Party in Biden's presidency is in shambles. Perfectly said.
Mm-hmm.
Perfectly said.
And this is the reason why the pressure was so great on progressives to vote for this. Because they know that they're doing an awful job, but I think it's absolutely intentional. They want divided government. They want to be able to point to the other side and say, see them. That's what they want. And it's good for fundraising. It's great for fundraising.
Absolutely. I'm saying they're more than happy to lose because it's a repeated cycle. Well, they make promises. They fail on the promises. They lose the majority, and then they say the Republicans are the only reason why we didn't get the promise, and the country has mass amnesia, and then they forget that even though they had the majority, they didn't do it, so they elect Democrats again, then they lose. It's a constant ongoing cycle. It's a constant ongoing cycle, and I don't know how people don't see through at this point. I really don't, because I only had to see it a few times. Like, all right, this is ridiculous. And people know this. People know that Joe Biden is not doing anything for them. That's why you have giant stadiums. I'm gonna see if I can find some videos. I don't have any saved, but I can find some easily. They're like giant stadiums of people chanting "Let's go Biden." You guys seen the whole stadium with Trump supporters? And the liberal class has been trying to make it just a right-wing thing. And the reason why I'm covering this. Oh wait, let me read this poll. I just now saw this comment.
Yeah, friend of the show, Robert. What's up, Rob?
Yeah, according to NBC poll, 18% of people strongly agree that Biden's doing a good job. 46% say they strongly disagree. Bro, that's less than 1 out of 5. That's insane, guys. He's already in Trump territory.
That's what I was just about to say. He's rivaling Trump right now. This is Joe Biden.
I'm gonna see if I find some video so you guys can see what I'm talking about. But there's a liberals are trying to cover for this, the Let's Go Brandon thing, and Biden's dip in approval ratings. Yeah, Biden support is tanking and now liberals are panicking because of this. So the whole Let's Go Brandon thing is terrifying to them. So they are smearing anyone who says Let's Go Brandon as some sort of Nazi.
Really?
Yes.
See, I don't be hearing all this. That's why I love talking to you, because I'll be hearing all of what?
So once again, I don't cover any of these things for no reason. This is a fun story.
Yeah.
But I am covering this because I want to show you guys the psyche of the liberals. I'm going to show you guys their psyche. And once again, I told you the Democratic Party is a cult. It's a cult.
Yes.
They was upset. Let me phrase like this. They called Trump every single name under the fucking sun. Every name. But now people are saying fuck Joe Biden and they are melting down. How dare you assault our president? They were calling people terrorists, CJ. Watch this. I'm going to show you guys just a few examples.
Let me take that off.
What I'm talking about here. But this has some real jokes because if you guys don't know, let me share the background of the story.
Wait, before you play it, so I don't know that much about it.
I'm gonna give you the full background.
Okay, go ahead.
The recent story is you have a pilot who was on Southwest Airlines. You know how pilots talk before they lift off?
Yeah.
He was a funny guy. He said, "Let's go, Brandon. Let's go, Brandon." And then there's a shit lip on the plane who lost their shit. I don't know how they did it, but they leaked it. And this was a giant story where they was like, yo, there's this pilot who said, "Let's go, Brandon." And the media was reporting it like, yo, this is a far right QAnon chant. And all the leftists I know think it's hilarious because we think we should fuck Joe Biden, right? But the media side, and I'm going to see if I can find some examples live, was insane. Once again, this is why I'm covering this story. So you can guys see why the United States is the most propagandized country. And so they was writing like, yo, this is insane. Yo, the plane, they shouldn't be politicized. You guys got fucking people calling him an insurrectionist on the plane. So this is the tweets I'll show you. So there was a meltdown over this pilot because he simply was sharing the meme. Let's go, Brandon. It's hilarious. Wait, damn, I spoiled it. But anyway, this is the tweet. This is from Allison. All of these are hilarious. She said, "Hi, Southwest Airlines. Can you point me to a public statement where you denounce your pilots making political remarks to passengers? Because this is garbage, and I tend to avoid when I fly." Now let's move on because it get even crazier. "Hey, Southwest Air, I've been an A-list preferred companion pass for multiple years before the pandemic. See, I'm poor. I don't know what none of this shit means. But when I start traveling again, I won't be with you. I'm so disappointed. You see how upset they are and once again, this is giant. I'm just giving you guys a few examples.
He just said, "Let's go, Brandon." That's it.
That's it. That's the only thing he said. And he said, there's everyone assuming that he's a far-right MAGA person. They're like, yo, this insane insurrectionist want to go on the board and start using far-right talking points. And look at the meltdown. There's a few more. And I want to get your take, CJ. And this is a blue check shit list. Once again, it was everywhere. If Southwest Air doesn't do anything, every passenger on the flight has a standing to file a complaint.
What?
And they should do so. Southwest will then be compelled to investigate or defend him. Have fun with that. No messing around the air. So they like mass boycott. This is look at the brainwash here. Your flight crew insulted the president. You insulted our president.
What?
And then they got upset at their response because they caved like all capitalist cowards do. So this is why this is crazy. The Southwest pilot is under investigation for the divisive phrase. Divisive. The guy who is massively unpopular, as we just showed. Let's go, Brandon. And we all know, let's go, Brandon means fuck Joe Biden.
Right.
So this guy said fuck Joe Biden. Now he's under investigation.
That's preposterous, Nick.
CJ, what's your take? I got a lot to say, but I want to give your take on everything I just covered real quick.
Well, I think it's ridiculous that, to me, when you were saying all this stuff, what flashed to me was Karen. You know, the whole phrase, the white woman who complains to the, and that's what's flashing to me, is that liberals as a collective are all Karens, really. Yeah. Look at their outrage. This looks like a white woman complaining. If you have this guy back here on Southwest Airlines, I'm not flying with you again. Doesn't that sound like a Karen to you? 100%. That sounds like a Karen to me.
Bro, and again, those are just a compilation of four, bro. They melted down over this story. That's why Southwest Airlines is now launching an investigation into this. Because he said, fuck the president. He is the most powerful motherfucker on the planet. And they are mad because he being mocked and jeered.
But look, Nick, now looking at this from a more serious point, look at the mob reaction to somebody uttering words. Look at the path that we're going down. An investigation is starting because somebody said, "Let's go, Brandon." That is so ridiculous. We're affording investigations, Nick, for that ridiculous thing, but we have homeless. You see, it's just so it's so out of whack, so unbalanced. The ridiculousness, but this is something we have to fear, Nick. That people, you can't say this whole misinformation thing. You can't even utter words about the Democrats, about Joe Biden. This is getting crazy.
That's the serious point of it, right? The cult mentality.
Right, that's it.
He did not went on there and say an insane racial slur. He did not go on that plane and say all blank has to die, right? He went on there and said, fuck Joe Biden, essentially. The mean version of that. You know, he could have been saying it just to be funny. And look at the reactions of that. And you want to know the funniest thing? And I think this might crack you up, CJ. Because once again, the hypocrisy of these liberal Karens is incredible. Incredible. Because these people, their amnesia, you see how these people, they rehabilitate George Bush. Like their amnesia is unbelievable. Because they just forgot how they treated Trump for 4 years, which I'm all for. Once again, we're consistent. I love fuck Joe Biden the same way I love fuck Donald Trump. If I was on that plane and a pilot got on the passenger and was like, fuck Donald Trump, I'm like, hell yeah, bro, hell yeah. The same way, if I was on that goddamn plane, he said fuck Joe Biden, I'm like, hell yeah, I'll fuck with this motherfucker. For real, right? But they forgot that they had that same mentality with Trump. So watch this. The same people who lost their minds over this pilot, this is what they cheer and they applaud for.
Ladies and gentlemen, Robert De Niro.
I'm going to say one thing. Fuck Trump. It's no longer down with Trump, it's fuck Trump. Now I'll get to my introduction.
Yeah, Bobby D. I remember that. I remember Bobby D did that, man. It's ridiculous, man. But you are showing the comparison. Just the sheer effectiveness of propaganda, where you're saying the same exact thing, but you're having a completely different reaction.
And they're so brainwashed, they don't see it.
No.
There's some people who are straight up political actors. They know they're full of shit.
Mhm.
But there are also guys, and you guys probably know them in your personal life. There are people who legitimately got to set this story, but then cheer fuck Trump, and they are mentally incapable of making that hypocrisy, right? Mm-hmm. That's how brainwashed they are. And you guys wonder why I say America is the most propagandized country in the world? It is so deep, people don't even know it's there.
Right. Right. And this is the part, Nick, that gets me. I think in politics, the thing that gets me the most frustrated is propaganda. That is the thing, because it is so subtle. It is just the changing of one word that changes the whole meaning of how you intake that information. It's the omitting of details. It's the describing something that Premier Jayapal did transformative bill when it's not. Like, that is what gets me, because people, Americans, think they're so smart that they're not going to be succumb to propaganda. And it's like, all of you are. And that's what's so frustrating, including me. I was under that spell too. And the thing is, Nick, it's something you have to continuously fight every day. Even now, you have to read and be like, is this slanted? Let me ask questions about this article, about this author. You have to look it up even now.
Hey, CJ, the propaganda is so steep. Like, I look back at the time where I used to like Obama, and I legitimately don't know what I was thinking. Like I legitimately can't even explain to you my thought process of why I thought Barack Obama was progressive at one point. Because once again, and now I'm educated, now I know all the tricks. I'm like, bro, like, it horrifies me in a way. And there's people that still under the spell. But I'll read this one. There are so many propaganda techniques too that people hear and don't even know and identify as propaganda.
Yes.
That's a great point. That's such a
let me put that up there. Yes. And like I said, even me, I'll go start thinking, oh, wow, they did that. Then I'll go, wait a minute, that could be propaganda. Like, you have to be that sort of vigilant in this world of news that's not really news. It's like persuasion. That's all it is. It's speculation to persuade you. It's factless. And that's what we're dealing with. And that's why, Nick, that's why we created FHL. Was literally one of the main reasons was we have to combat propaganda. That is the thing that is keeping people, this status quo in place, is this propaganda, people believing these stories. Because, Nick, there's certain Americans that just can't even conceive that their government would be this corrupt. They can't even conceive that. They can't. They just go, what do you mean the Democrats are this? What do you mean they're imperialists? They cannot conceive it, Nick.
No, CJ, I would tell them that Barack Obama literally bombed Doctors Without Borders. And they will say, how can you get away with that?
Yes.
This is the reaction that you get from people when you tell stuff like that.
Yes.
When you tell them that there's a slave state in Libya, which was one of the most thriving African countries, and Obama destroyed that country, they will say stuff like, how is that possible? How did I not hear about this? How did I not hear about this? How can I get away with that? Every time I get the reaction, like, bro, God damn, they're good.
Right.
God, how them motherfuckers 45. It does not know.
Nick, they've had 300, 400 years to perfect this. That's why it's so hard. It's hard to break. And that's why all conversations to me lead back to general strike. That's why only a general strike is going to really break. That's the only thing that's going to break this. They've had 400 years to perfect this game. They've had 400 years to convince you that black people are criminals. They've had 400 years to convince you that poverty has no connection to crime. You get what I'm saying? Like, we're behind, bro. We're behind. Like, we have to catch up. So
yeah, there's a great comment. Hold on, there's super chat. Let me go back here. Thank you for super chat, Steve. Love Nick, Compton J's, JB, Savvy, and all FHL. The core of the new revolution. That's the goal. I said it at the very beginning. Most of y'all wasn't even watching back then. I said it in the very beginning. I said Fred Hampton leftist. My goal is not just to be like a YouTuber, like to be some sort of I don't care about being rich. I'm anti-capitalist. I don't give a fuck about money. I want to create a YouTube channel like we never seen before because I see a ton of channels literally squandering their power.
Mhm.
So we are holding a General Strike Summit next weekend.
2 weeks.
What?
2
Yeah,
weekends.
2 weeks.
Yeah,
Next,
2 weeks.
like, literally next weekend. Not this weekend, next weekend.
Oh, gotcha. Oh, my bad. I misunderstood that.
So we are just a channel with under 12,000 subscribers. Do you understand the power that someone like TYT who have 5 million subscribers, if they did a General Strike Summit, ask yourself why they're not doing that. Ask yourself why they're not organizing massive mutual aid drives like Tour for the Poor, Freedom Fighters in DC, like with Finney. So my thing is, we wanted to build this community, and we got a lot of love and respect for everyone who's in this community with us. It's all about growth and change and all that stuff. So thank you for the super chat, Steve. That's exactly why me and CJ made this, because we had talks back in the day. It was like I couldn't believe this lane was wide open.
Right.
Like there's no black leftists that are speaking outside the lens of electoral politics, because the people that are allowed on, they're either Ivy League or they repeat, oh, Democrats are good, Democrats good. There's no people that actually represent the anti-establishment black mind. And nowhere. Nowhere. We were just shocked and bewildered. So thank you all for the support.
But just think back, Nick. Think old left versus new left. The old left, I kind of consider Emma. I don't know how to pronounce her last name. And then TYT, and then people like Tim Black, and then this is the old left media. Exactly. People who only do things. They're just here on the video. You're never gonna see them at a march. You're never gonna see them planning any sort of mutual aid. They're just here to pontificate about stories. That's it.
Yep. Guys,
we have people in the streets. Liv is arrested by Capitol Hill police. Yes. We got Rome traveling around the country, tour for the poor. We're not the same. And that's what people are like, wow, these people are different. Go ahead, Nick.
Why do you think they hate us? Guys, I wasn't trying to cut you off. I'll let you finish. I was just adding, you guys understand, we have 5 speakers at the Medicare for All marches. 5 FHO speakers across the country. Mm-hmm. Meanwhile, they're in the air-conditioned studios telling you why change is not going to happen. Why incrementalism is actually great. AOC and No Chauncey got together and pretty much it was an hour incrementalism love fest. So this is the old left.
Oh my God.
We call ourselves Fred Hampton leftists because I promise you, I made this point on Jimmy. The same people that smear us because we don't like electoral politics. Fred Hampton didn't like electoral politics. He said there's no change with trusting politicians, and we get smeared for saying what Fred Hampton said. We get smeared for saying what Malcolm X says.
Right.
So if they smear us for just repeating them, I ain't creating the will. I ain't that fucking smart.
Right.
Anything you hear from me is just coming from them. So if I said it many times, if Fred Hampton was alive today and Malcolm X was alive today, you would see TYT hit pieces on them. You would see Voss making videos like, he's a fucking tanky. That's his whole brand, going after tankies. Marxist-Leninists. The Black Panthers was a Marxist-Leninist organization. You know, the same ideology that these people smear as tankies? Right?
They always forget that. When they're talking about Black Panthers, even in American Hollywood culture, they always forget that part. They always forget to mention about MLK that he was a socialist and he was They always forget that, Nick. Always forget that. Because they want to paint him and paint these figures who Black people and a lot of other people look up to as these capitalist-friendly people. That's what it's all about. And this super chat, thank you. We have bread lines and no free speech. Amen to that. And I'm saying amen to say I second that. That is a very, very accurate take. And the free speech part is very jarring to me, Nick. I have to admit that people can't say stuff that's a lie. Like that's part of free speech. That's part of free. I should be able to say the sky is yellow. I can say that. And you can't say that's misinformation. I'm taking you down. Like that. It is just chilling what's happening. CJ. Just rights are just going away. Go ahead, sir.
I'm going to add on your point here. You guys want to know how crazy it is? You know how I was going crazy when you have people saying we must vote for Joe Biden over Donald Trump because we got to get rid of the fascists. Joe Biden, just like Donald Trump, just like Barack Obama, is going after Julian Assange. And Joe Biden, as vice president under Barack Obama, led a unbefore-seen campaign, historic campaign against journalists. He used the Espionage Act more than anyone in American history. So Joe Biden, and he's continuing it to this day, waged an unbefore-seen war on the free press. But you guys saying that we're going to vote out the fascists? What is one of the tenets of fascism? Limiting and going after journalists and the control of media. That is what the United States have done.
Absolutely.
So the people who pretend that Joe Biden is not a fascist and you are left of center, you lying to people. You're just lying to people. The same thing they accuse other countries of doing, like Russia, Venezuela, all the other countries going after journalists. We do that. We had a corporate prosecution of Stephen Donziger because he went after Chevron. You guys see what the crackdown that's going on right now? That's the merging. Once again, another tenet of fascism is the merging of corporation and state. So Chevron literally led a prosecution against a lawyer because he won a settlement against Chevron. But tell me more, and Joe Biden not do anything about that, but tell me more how you beat the fascists. Words have no meaning to these people, CJ.
Right. They fundamentally ignore the meaning and don't apply it or find some sort. Oh, this is why it's different. But I found the tweet, Nick. What's worse than a fascist in the White House? A fascist in the White House who has the full support of mainstream media and the military-industrial complex. I forgot I had the military-industrial complex in it, and that's exactly what we have going on with Joe Biden. And
the war
like, this is not hyperbole here, okay? Having a fascist in the White House and having the full support of the mainstream media, that's not a good combination for the people whatsoever. So I just want to make sure people understand. Make sure they understand that.
I want you guys to understand that this is not just a United States trend. This is global. You guys seen the crackdown in Australia, the authoritarian capitalist crackdown in Australia, living in a ton of freedoms. There is an international consensus among the governments to go after Julian Assange. But Europe as a whole is losing their damn mind. And this is the last fun story I'll share today, and we can start to wrap up because I think this applies to what we're talking about here. I saw this today. You guys want to see what all world leaders are doing? We just talk about when it comes to the climate crisis, their response was to, hey, we're going to flip a coin. Good luck. We may get the emissions to reach scientific standards by mid-century. That's what they're doing on climate. But look at their priorities on this. Social media users could face 2 years in prison for sending messages or posting content that causes psychological harm under the government's new online harms bill.
They're putting the onus on us, on the people. Is that what you're saying, Nick? Is that what you're reading? That's what I heard.
So pretty much, they're trying to criminalize racializing people, right? That because this is what I said. Imagine going to prison because you racial someone to death, right? Because what they're talking about, the ministers are looking to include so-called Twitter pylons as a possible offense. So once again, this is a tenet that we stress all the time on FHL. They expand the state and give the state more power under the guise of fighting good things.
Yes.
Because fighting online bullying, that sounds good. But they were going to use this. They were going to use this to go after anti-establishment voices, guaranteed. So if you troll or if you go after your world leader, they're going to use that on that for you, right? Thanks for super chat, Steve. Nick, love seeing you on Jimmy's show. A great combo and a great ally. Yeah, Jimmy, man.
I think you've been the most frequent guest on his show in the last at least 3 weeks.
Yeah,
I don't think he's had. I think he's had you on the most.
It's crazy. Yeah, like Jimmy's dope to talk to. Like we got like same energy. I remember we were talking about Obama once, and someone was like, "Y'all never seen someone get like more angry than Doran." But that's why we vibe, bro. Like that's real. Like it's real hatred for this that both of us have. And I guess you guys get a special announcement because you're watching. We didn't announce it officially later, so you guys live viewers get this, and just if you're watching the replay, Jimmy Dore will be on the Jones Strike Summit.
Yes.
3 p.m. Eastern. So
yes, that's awesome.
That's gonna be dope. So you guys first to hear. We don't have a lot of great guests on the Jones Strike Summit, but we're gonna have people like Jimmy Dore. We're gonna have a lot of our allies, Heartland Media. We're gonna reach out. We want to reach out to as many people as possible. Have bring a ton of people on. So super excited about the Jones Strike Summit.
Yeah, let me put that on the screen so everybody know. Jimmy Dore will be at the General Strike Summit. The General Strike Summit is November 12th through November 14th. That's a Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And we're streaming each of those days from 10 a.m. to 10 p.m. You know, there'll be breaks in between different shows and different streams and panels, but throughout that time frame, we will be streaming, discussing how to build a real successful long-term general strikes strategy, answering questions about your concerns on what's keeping you on the fence from joining a general strike, answering how do you financially survive a general strike if you quit your job, talking to you about mutual aid, how to build mutual aid structure. So all those questions, all those things need to be talked about before a real general strike can even begin. So we thought,
CJ,
go ahead.
Sorry, man, but CJ, they always say, and because I was trying to come at this at so many different angles. I want to hear what the criticism of the general strike is and all this stuff. And the main thing I hear from people who are against a general strike, they say, yo, general strikes is super hard to organize. It take a lot of like communication. We got to get labor in order. We're not ready yet. So my response to them using the CIA tactics of easing caution, right, is, okay, if we're not ready yet, let's get to work. Let's get started. Why are you just fear-mongering?
Right.
I acknowledge that a general strike is going to be insanely hard to start in this country. So why not get started? And the General Strike Summit is us getting started on this, answering these questions, understand how we can do this as in this country, in the state that we're in right now. Because once again, the people who pretend that general strike's not possible, they don't pay attention to other countries. You guys know that there's a general strike in Colombia? You guys know there's a general strike going on in South Korea right now? So how do they do that? I can speak on Colombia. I'm going to read on South Korea.
Didn't they have one in India too?
Yeah, India as well.
Yeah.
I read about the one that happened in Colombia. You guys know how they got that done? Because they have massive workers' awareness. That was done by a communist-led faction in that country. And when the media reported on that, they conveniently let that out, didn't they? Mm-hmm. That was communists who did that. So we got to have massive education. We got to get people to become class loyal. We got to promote the idea of strikes. That's why I'm like, bro, I'm going to go on Jimmy Dore show. I'm going to talk about the fucking strikes. And that's what we did. We did whole segments on strikes. I'll talk about the General Strike Summit. This is the kind of stuff we want to do. Unlike any other channel. What other channel holding the General Strike Summit? This has been stressful as fuck to organize, but we got
you can say that again.
But we have to do this. Like, we're not taking the easy way out, right? So yeah, that's the General Strike Summit. So we got a lot of people announced. Who else on your peer review? Or you want to wait to announce? We got so many people. Like Jimmy Dore is like one of the first people we announced, but we're gonna have labor. I want to reach out to as many labor leaders as possible. I want to reach out to activists. I want to get like Dr. Richard Wolf on there. So, dude, this
Cornel West, we want to reach out to everybody.
I'm gonna test Cornel West. But we need your guys' help as a community. Like, I'm gonna be straight up here because what we are planning is pretty crazy. Having a General Strike Summit for 3 days, inviting people like Professor Wolf and a lot of economists on there. So, as a community, I'm asking you guys, spread the word. I want Professor Richard Wolf. I want Chris Hedges. Chris Hedges is going to be hard. I reached out to him. He's hard. So, guys, blow him up. FHL having a General Strike Summit. Yeah. Let's go. So then, if you guys do that, they'd be more likely, yo, what is a General Strike Summit? Then we hit them up. They're like, oh, shit. So, guys, I'm asking for your help, straight up. If you guys want to see this, and this is not the last time. We talk about this a lot, CJ, right? Like, General Strike Summit is a start. Like, this is not like a
this is a start. This is not this is not the one and done. This is just the start.
Yeah, so we're gonna have if we pop this out the General Strike Summit, we can have another one in a few weeks. Or something on another topic. We can have a healthcare
exactly. Exactly. Summit for different things until we get what we want. again, education comes before the revolution. You can see several of the people we look up to, like Fred Hampton, talk about this videos where he's like, well, where's your education in your plan? Where's your education here? I don't see your details about that, because that's important for any revolution, because it's the same sustainability of the revolution is how you win. And you win by staying together, and you stay together with the education, everybody being on the same page.
I see some good comments.
Yes.
I'm sorry, TJ. I saw a few comments with some suggestions. We always open, guys. If you got a suggestion on who you think you want to be on the General Strike Summit, email fredhamptonleftist@gmail.com. Send us a DM on Twitter. Reach out any way you can, because I'm down for suggestions, because we got a lot to talk about. This is a 3-day event. Thanks for comment, free Islam, free Palestine. Hell yeah.
Trying to find other comments that you were just talking about right here.
Yeah, I just saw. Chris Hedges, man, he's just hard to get hold of, and a lot of people who want to invite him on, they'll tell you the same thing.
Cornel West has talked about this many times. I've seen videos where he wanted to vote out the little difference between Joe Biden and Donald Trump. He saw as a reason to vote for him, but he is one of the few who voted and now is still critiquing him effectively. That's the difference. There's a lot of people who, vote for him, and then we're gonna, push him. But there's some now they're cheerleading for him. I'm like, what happened? What happened? I mean, in particular, I'm gonna say I'm gonna call it out. The Humanist Report, and what's the other guy from Canada? I forget. David Dow, but his show, like, they haven't done a critique video on Joe Biden, or maybe one or two, when they used to do several every week, and it just dropped off when he got elected. And it's just like, what the hell is going on? But Nick, we have reached a little bit over an hour and a half. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know how much more you can go. Go ahead.
Let me end on this one video. Okay, since
go ahead.
Let
me take this off right here.
I'm going to add one comment, right? Because Dr. Cornel, my criticism of people who vote for Biden always was the people who lied to us, and they not even holding them accountable.
Right.
Dr. Cornel West did a great job holding them accountable, and he continues to do a good job holding politicians accountable. So this would be a great clip to watch at the end of this episode, because I don't think I'll share this in a long while, but I think this is a very interesting moment. You even had Dr. Cornel West. He calls out Bernie Sanders and progressives for being weak on imperialism. If you guys haven't watched the interview, watch this, because I'm gonna end this episode on this clip since we got Cornel West, and then we wrap up, because this is exactly the criticism that we have of the progressives and the people who like Dr. Cornel West. They will get mad at us for saying it, because I guess we're working class people not allowed to criticize their politicians. If you got a doctorate, you can, I guess. It never makes sense to me. But listen to what Dr. Cornel West had to say here, and we end it with this thought.
Reinforces their progressive wing, but it's still a progressive wing that can be crushed any minute. We saw him crush Bernie twice. And Christopher Hedges and others, my dear brother Chris, he was telling me, Brother West, you up there doing 112 events for Bernie the first time, 120 the next time. I love you to death, but I don't think you ought to be doing that kind of work, because you got other energy to be done. I said, well, at this moment, this might be the best way to educate people, get people exposed to new ways of looking at the world and so forth and so on. But more likely, we'll get across to the neoliberals will come together. Get a phone call from Obama, Biden, Pete, Amy, boom, they all come together to crush. Because in November, it looked like we had, with the battle, it looked like we had a chance for a while. But even Bernie himself doesn't have a substantive critique of imperialism. No, not at all. He's got a critique of right-wing xenophobic leaders in Israel, Netanyahu, but that's a very, very low bar.
Yep.
If I can't criticize Netanyahu, then don't join Trump's party and just do it American style. And the Israeli left has no strong left either. And so the Palestinians find themselves subject to this vicious treatment of domination, and occupation, and subordination, and subjugation. And you say, hey, Palestinian baby got the same value as a Jewish baby or black baby or white baby, what Brother James was talking about. Not one. Remember, the Democratic Party can say one word when 550 Palestinian babies are killed in 50 days. They can't say one word. That's sick. If that happened to Jewish babies, there ought to be voices. My voice, your voice, all of our voices would be heard for Jewish babies. Rightly so, because we care about Jewish babies. But when the Palestinian babies, and it's just a few voices like ourselves, and no Democrats can say a word, then we know that's sick. Spiritually, morally, that is sick.
And since then, Ilhan Omar and Jamal Bowman voted to get Israel more weapons. So, like Dr. Cornel West said, that is sick. So, thank you guys for watching. I got International Leftist Coalition tomorrow. Around this time tomorrow, we start at 9 p.m. Eastern. We got a great program show for you guys. And we upload every single day, so make sure you guys check out FredHamptonLeftist.com, because the day after that, that's CJ's day. CJ
I was just gonna say, then I have Straight Out of Compton, or Straight Out of I always mess that up. Straight Out of Politics on Wednesday at 3 p.m. Eastern, and we're gonna do the original topic we had planned before this one, the traumatic effects on the Black community, next Monday for the Roundtable Monday. So come back for that. We're gonna hopefully have Professor Zungis on. We're gonna have Dr. Kareem on and some other panelists for that discussion. So come back for that. Outside of that, did you have anything else, Nick?
That's it, man. Thank you guys for watching. We love you guys.
All right, signing off. See you guys.